The room was too bright. The ceiling above him was smooth, white, and glowing softly. A strange buzzing sound echoed in his ears. His body felt heavy, like it hadn't moved in years. He tried to sit up, but a sharp pain in his chest stopped him. Then a soft voice said, "Careful, human, you've been in a coma for over 20 years." His eyes turned toward the voice. It wasn't human. Standing next to his bed was a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 fingers and eyes like liquid silver. She wore a clean white coat and had strange floating devices hovering around her shoulders. "I'm Supervisor Kirel," she said gently. "You're safe now." He blinked. Confused. A coma, 20 years. That couldn't be real. He tried to speak, but his throat was dry like sand. Kirel helped him sip some kind of warm, glowing liquid. It tasted sweet, but his hands trembled as he held the cup. "What's your name?" she asked kindly. He paused, trying to remember. Everything felt foggy, like his brain was covered in dust. "Daniel," he finally whispered. "My name is Daniel," Kirel smiled. But it looked sad. "Welcome back, Daniel," she said. "I know you have questions, but your body needs rest." He didn't listen. His heart pounded. Where was he? Where were the other humans? What happened to Earth? He looked at his hands. His skin was pale and thin. He had small scars on his arms, circular, neat, almost like someone had done surgery again and again. I don't remember anything," he muttered. Kirel nodded slowly. "That is expected." She said, "You were found in cryosleep, floating in a broken ship near a debris field." "Cryosleep?" he asked weakly. "Yes," she said. "Your ship had no power, no signal, nothing. We thought you were dead, but your pod was still functioning. Barely we brought you here to Station Mira 12, one of our deep space medical platforms." He looked around the room. Strange machines blinked quietly. The walls had alien writing and glowing panels. Outside the glass wall, he could see stars and something like a ring-shaped structure spinning slowly. It was not Earth, not even close. "I want to go home," Daniel whispered, his voice shaking. Kirel paused again, and her eyes softened. "I'm sorry, Daniel," she said slowly. "Earth is gone." He stared at her, not understanding. "What do you mean gone?" he asked. "There was a war," she said, her voice low. "A great war between human colonies and something they called the Scourge. Your homeworld was the final target. No one survived." Daniel's mouth went dry. His chest felt tight again. "No, that's not possible," he said, trying to sit up again. Kirel gently held his shoulder. "I know this is hard," she said, "but you need to accept it. You may be the last living human." The words hit him like ice. The last human. His family. His friends. His world all gone. He pulled the blanket up and stared at the wall. Not saying a word, inside, something broke quietly. Kirel stood silently beside him for a long time. Then she whispered, "You are not alone here. Daniel, you are in our care. We will help you." He didn't reply. His mind was spinning. Why? Did they keep him alive? Why go through the trouble? He didn't trust this place. Not yet. Later that day, another alien came to check on him. This one was short and gray-skinned with large eyes and a nervous laugh. It said its name was Tan, a technician. Big surprise. "Huh," Tan said, smiling awkwardly. "You're kind of famous on the station now. Some think you're a miracle. Others think you're dangerous." "Why dangerous?" Daniel asked, still lying down. Tan hesitated, then shrugged. "Old. Fear, I guess. Humans were warriors, strong, clever, unpredictable. Some people think you'll wake up and destroy the place. Others think you're a hero from the past." Daniel didn't know what to say. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man who had been asleep too long. Alone that night. He couldn't sleep. Strange images kept flashing in his mind stars. Fire. Someone screaming his name. He sat up slowly, ignoring the pain in his body. He walked to the glass wall and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was the truth, and he had to find it. No matter how broken, no matter how lost, something deep inside him whispered, "This is not the end. Asterisk. A strange sound woke him up, like soft thunder rumbling through metal walls. Daniel opened his eyes and saw that he was alone. The lights in the room had dimmed, and the stars outside the glass wall now glowed red. He got out of bed slowly, his legs weak but steady. There was a voice in his mind, not words. Just a deep feeling like something pulling him forward. The door slid open before he touched it. No alarms, no warning. He stepped into the corridor, expecting someone to stop him, but no one came. The halls were quiet, only the low hum of the station's power systems filled the air. He walked past strange signs and blinking panels he didn't understand. He didn't know where he was going. He just followed his instincts. The walls changed as he moved. Shiny metal turned into dark alloy. Some sections were older, with scratches and old burn marks. Then he entered a wide chamber where several aliens stood, staring at a screen. They turned and froze when they saw him. One of them gasped, "That's him, the human." He stopped, unsure what to do. Another alien, a tall creature with silver armor, stepped forward and pointed at him. "You're not cleared to be here," the alien said. "Return to medical quarters." Daniel didn't move. "I want answers," he said quietly. "Earth, the war, everything. You will be told when it's time," the armored alien said, his tone hard. Daniel clenched his jaw. Was it real? He asked, "Was Earth really destroyed?" The room went silent. Then someone whispered, "He doesn't know." The silver-armored alien stepped closer. "Go back," he said, this time with a low growl. "Now." Daniel turned and left, but he could feel their eyes on his back the entire way. He returned to his room and found Supervisor Kirel waiting for him. She didn't look surprised. "You wandered," she said. "That's not safe." "They lied to me," Daniel said. "Didn't they?" Kirel didn't answer right away. Finally she said, "Some truths are hard, Daniel, even for us. Is Earth really gone?" He asked again, this time with anger in his voice. Kirel looked away. "I wasn't there," she said softly. "But what we know is fragments. The data is broken, scattered, erased. Why?" Daniel asked, stepping closer. "Why hide the truth from me?" Kirel stared at him for a moment, then spoke quietly. "Because you might be the last hope of your kind, and some don't want that hope to rise again." His heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" "You don't know what's inside you, do you?" she asked. Daniel blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" "You were in cryosleep for 20 years, but your body, it changed," Kirel said. "You were exposed to something in that last battle, something that's not fully human." Daniel shook his head. "I don't feel different," he said, but he didn't believe it. He remembered the scars on his arms, the voices in his dreams, the strange way the door had opened without him touching it. "You will," Kirel said, "in time." Then she turned and left. He sat on the edge of the bed, mind racing. If something was inside him, what was it? Why didn't they just tell him? And who was watching him from the shadows? That night he heard voices again, but this time, they weren't just feelings. They were words, clear and sharp. "You are not safe here," the voice whispered. "They will lock you away again if you find the truth." He stood up quickly and looked around the room. No one was there. "Who are you?" he whispered back, but the voice was gone. He stared out the glass wall once more. The stars didn't comfort him this time. He felt more alone than ever. But deep down, something inside him had changed, and he knew the answers were out there. Somewhere on this strange station, hidden behind fake smiles and half-truths, and he was going to find them, even if it meant tearing this place apart. The lights flickered when Daniel walked past. He didn't notice at first, but then he realized every time he got close to a panel or a door, it reacted to him, like the station itself was responding to his presence. He didn't tell anyone. Not yet. Something inside told him to stay quiet. He spent the next day watching people. Aliens moved through the station like rivers flowing through pipes. Some stared at him, others looked away fast. He saw groups whispering, a few pointing. News had spread. The last human is awake. He tried to act normal, but everything felt off. Even the food they gave him tasted too perfect, too artificial. Even the kindness in Kirill's voice now seemed too smooth, too careful. And when he asked questions, the answers always came too slow, or not at all. So he made a plan late at night, when the station's corridors grew quiet and the lights dimmed to blue. Daniel left his room again. He remembered Tan, the gray-skinned technician with big eyes and nervous hands. Tan had access to terminals. Daniel found him alone in a small control room, watching energy readings scroll down a screen. Tan. Daniel said quietly. Tan jumped in his chair, then turned, eyes wide. Stars. Don't sneak up like that, he whispered. You're lucky I didn't faint. I need your help. Daniel said. Tan hesitated. If I help you, I could get fired, or worse. Daniel stepped closer. If I don't find the truth, I might disappear. Tan looked into Daniel's eyes and saw something there, something not fully human anymore. I just want to see the files, Daniel said. That's all, Tan sighed. 5 minutes, that's all I can give you. He opened a private terminal and tapped in a long password. The screen changed security logs, medical scans, classified records. Tan stood up and moved aside. Daniel sat down and started reading. At first, it was normal scan results. Coma status, recovery logs. But then he found a locked folder marked Project Ember. He clicked it. Password protected. Do you know this file? He asked. Tan leaned in and squinted. Project Ember? No, wait. I think I've heard someone whisper that name near Sector 9. Daniel clicked again, and this time, the screen glitched, just for a second. Then it opened. Tan gasped. That's not supposed to happen. Inside the file were logs, all written 20 years ago. Each one detailed a human soldier. Their DNA, their brain scans, and something else experiments. And Daniel's name was at the bottom of the list, marked as Final Phase Host. What is this? Daniel whispered. Tan stared in silence. More files appeared, audio logs, corrupted videos, broken data fragments. But one message was still clear. If he ever wakes up, do not let him remember. Daniel's hands went cold. Someone had been hiding something deep, maybe even from Kirill. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the room. You triggered something, Tan said, panicking. Daniel jumped up. Run. They both rushed down the corridor as doors began to lock behind them. Voices echoed through the station, calling for Security Protocol 7. Daniel didn't know what that meant, but he didn't wait to find out. They ducked into a storage room, catching their breath. Tan stared at him. What are you? Daniel didn't answer. He didn't know anymore. Later that night, after hiding in silence, Daniel returned to his room. No one stopped him. Kirill wasn't there. Everything felt too calm, like the calm before a storm. He lay on his bed, eyes wide open. The voice in his head returned. Clearer now. You were the last fire, the ember buried in cold space. They tried to kill the flame, but it still burns. Daniel didn't sleep. He couldn't. His past was a lie. His body was changing. And now he knew Project Ember wasn't just about saving a man. It was about building something more, something powerful, something the galaxy feared. Asterisk. The station spoke to him, not with words or voices, but with lights, feelings, and strange pulls in his chest. Daniel stood in front of a locked corridor labeled Sector 9 Restricted. The door looked just like the others, plain metal, glowing blue edges, but the air around it felt warmer, heavier. His hand moved without thinking. The door unlocked. Before he even touched the panel, it slid open with a soft hiss. He stepped inside, heart pounding, unsure what he would find. No one stopped him. No alarms rang. It was almost like something had been waiting for him. The hallway inside was darker than the rest of the station. The lights above flickered softly. He walked slowly, the silence growing louder with each step. Then he saw it, another door, older, sealed tight, with rust along the sides. It had a human logo on it, faded but still clear. Earth Defense Unit classified vault. His fingers brushed the metal. It was cold. Suddenly, the door lit up. Scanning his face, a robotic voice said, "Clearance accepted. Welcome, Commander." Daniel Hale. The door opened with a loud groan. Dust fell from the ceiling. Inside was a room frozen in time. Earth tech covered the wall's monitors. Machines, old weapons, digital maps of Earth and its colonies. And at the center, a pod almost identical to the one he was found in. But this one was empty. On the wall near it, a small screen blinked with a message. He tapped it, and a video began to play. A man appeared, in uniform, eyes tired but determined. "Daniel," the man said, "if you're watching this, then Project Ember failed or succeeded in a way we didn't expect." Daniel stepped closer, staring at the face. He didn't recognize it, but something in his gut twisted. The man continued, "You were chosen because you were strong, loyal, and willing to sacrifice everything." The video glitched, then resumed. "You were injected with a biocore, containing the genetic memory of all major human leaders and scientists. If Earth falls, you become the seed for its rebirth." Daniel's knees almost buckled. All those dreams, the pain, the strange feelings, they weren't accidents. He wasn't just a survivor. He was a walking archive, a living backup of humanity. The video ended, but another file blinked open. This one was labeled "Warning, Suppression Protocol." He clicked it. It showed orders to erase his memory if he ever woke up. Kirill's name was on the approval list. Daniel stepped back, staring at the screen. The aliens saved his life, but also kept him in the dark. Why? Because they feared what he might become. Or because they wanted to control it. A sudden sound echoed behind him. He turned fast. Kirill stood at the doorway, her expression unreadable. "You weren't supposed to find this place," she said. Quietly, Daniel didn't answer. His hands clenched into fists. "So it's true," he said. "All of it." Kirill stepped inside, slowly. "Yes," she whispered. "We didn't lie about Earth's destruction, but we did lie about your purpose." "Why?" Daniel asked. "Why hide it from me?" "Because you're more than one man now," she said. "You carry the legacy of an entire species, and the galaxy doesn't want that legacy to rise again." Daniel stared at her, breathing hard. "I trusted you," he said. "I protected you," she replied. "If others had known what you really were, you would have been dissected the moment you woke up." Silence stretched between them. Then Daniel spoke, his voice calm but cold. "I'm leaving this station." Kirill didn't stop him. Instead, she said, "Then be ready, because out there, not everyone will welcome a human carrying the fire of a dead world." Daniel turned and walked past her. He no longer cared about safety. He needed answers. He needed freedom. And most of all, he needed to know who he truly was before the galaxy decided for him. It started with a whisper, not from outside, but deep within Daniel's own mind. He sat alone in a forgotten part of the station, away from cameras and patrols. He had no food, no plan, only the truth burning in his chest. He had been made into something more than human, and now something buried inside him had begun to wake up. "You are not alone," the voice said softly. Daniel jerked upright, looking around, but there was no one. The whisper came again, stronger this time. "We are within you," it said. "The many who came before." He staggered to his feet, clutching his head. Images flashed through his mind, flames over Earth's skies, ships exploding, a woman crying out his name. Then another image, his own face, standing proud in a war room, giving orders. It wasn't a dream. It was memory, but not his. "Stop," he muttered, but the memories kept coming. A scientist injecting him with something golden, screaming, pain, and then silence. He fell to his knees, sweat running down his face. His heart raced like it wanted to break free from his chest. "You are the Ember Core," the voice said. "Calm and ancient. You carry the will of humanity." Daniel looked at his hands. They were shaking. He thought he had lost everything, but now he realized he had gained more than he understood. The voice wasn't an enemy. It was a guide. Part of the program hidden in his DNA. A safeguard, maybe even a soul. Then the voice said something that made his blood turn cold. "They are coming for you, Daniel. They know you've awakened." Without thinking, he ran. His feet pounded through metal halls. Alarms starting to echo behind him. He didn't care. His path was clear. He had one goal, now to escape the station. And find the truth out in the galaxy. If Earth was gone, then someone must have taken its place. And if someone destroyed it, he had to know who. Doors slammed shut behind him, but some opened before he touched them. The station was responding to him again, half fearing him, half following him. He turned a corner and came face to face with the armored alien he had seen before, the guards. Eyes narrowed. "You should have stayed asleep, human. I didn't choose this," Daniel said. "You were never meant to choose," the alien replied, pulling out a stun baton. Daniel raised his hands, but something else raised with him. The lights around them flickered, and the baton in the alien's hand sparked and died. The alien froze. Daniel didn't wait. He ran faster than before, guided by the whisper that now called itself Core Prime. Ahead, a hatch opened to a side dock. Inside was a small scout ship, old but Earth-made. It was dusty, scratched, forgotten. But when Daniel stepped near it, the ship's systems lit up like they had been waiting just for him. "Welcome, Commander Hale," said the ships. "Computer, auto start sequence initiated." Behind him, more guards shouted. Footsteps coming closer. Daniel climbed in, slamming the hatch closed behind him. The ship hummed to life, shaking with old energy. He gripped the controls, everything strange yet familiar under his fingers. The docking bay lights turned red. But it was too late. With a roar, the ship launched out into the void, stars streaking past. The station faded behind him. Growing smaller and colder, he was free. But the galaxy was wide, and danger was everywhere. Still, the fire in his chest burned brighter now. He wasn't running anymore. He was searching for answers, for justice, and for the pieces of a past that someone tried very hard to erase. The voice inside him spoke once more. "This is only the beginning," it said, and Daniel believed it. The stars outside the ship moved like streaks of silver fire. Daniel sat in the pilot's seat, breathing slowly. He had escaped, but he didn't feel safe. Not yet. Something was coming. The ship was small, meant for scouting missions, not long journeys. Its fuel was low, and the navigation systems were damaged. Still, it listened to him, responded to his touch, like it remembered him. Even if he didn't remember himself. "Where do I go now?" he asked, staring into the void. The voice inside him answered, "There is a place far from here, where old Earth tech still breathes." Daniel closed his eyes. "Take me there," he whispered. The ship adjusted course, lights blinking along. The panels, coordinates appeared on the screen, followed by a name, the Graveyard Field. It didn't sound friendly, but it was his only lead. Hours passed, maybe more. Daniel didn't sleep. Instead, he opened the encrypted files from the vault, the ones he had copied before fleeing the station. Many were broken, others corrupted, but one video played. A room filled with humans, all in uniforms, standing around a table. A woman with sharp eyes looked into the camera. "If you're watching this, then the final flame wasn't lost," she said. "The Ember Core lives on, and with it, the memory of all we were." She paused, then spoke softer. "But be warned, they will hunt you, twist your purpose, and chain your will. Your enemies are not just alien, they're human too." Daniel sat still, her words cutting deep. Human enemies. That part had never crossed his mind. The ship suddenly shook. Warning lights flashed red. "Hostile signal detected," said the computer. Daniel looked at the screen. A large vessel had entered his path, a dark, wide warship with no clear flag. A message blinked on the console. "Surrender the Ember host or be destroyed." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "How do they already know I'm here?" "Because the core sends a signal now that it's active," the voice inside him said. "They're tracking you, following the pulse of the past. He had no weapons, only speed and instinct. The ship rattled again, warning blasts fired near. His tail. He pushed the engines harder, heat building, metal groaning. One wrong move and he'd be nothing but floating ash. But just before the next attack hit, a new ship appeared out of nowhere. It was older, rusted, but massive with earth. Symbols burned into its sides. And from it came a voice on the comms. "Stay behind me, Commander Hawley. We've waited 20 years to hear your signal." Daniel couldn't speak. His throat tightened. Another human voice. He wasn't the last one. The stranger's ship fired back at the hunter, powerful lasers slicing through darkness. Daniel's tiny scout ship swerved behind the cover. Shaking from the shock waves, the enemy vessel turned and vanished into warp space. Cowards, or maybe just surprised. Inside Daniel's ship, the silence returned. Then the voice came back. "This time from the other human ship. Prepare to dock, Ember Core. It's time you met what's left of your people." Daniel leaned back, heart pounding. The fire in his chest didn't feel lonely anymore. For the first time, he felt something. Else hope. The air inside the old ship smelled like rust and dust. Daniel stepped through the docking bridge slowly, every step echoing through the metal floor. The lights flickered overhead, but the walls were painted with old earth colors, deep blue and faded white. A banner hung across the hallway, torn but still proud. It read, "United Human Front We Remember," at the end of the corridor. People were waiting, real humans, tired, worn, some with scars, but their eyes lit up when they saw him. An older man stepped forward, tall with gray in his beard. "Daniel." "Hale," the man said, his voice rough but steady. "Welcome home." Daniel couldn't speak. He had prepared for lies, for betrayal, for fear, but not this, not warmth. "We've been hiding for years," the man said, "waiting for the Ember Core to activate." Another woman stepped beside him, her voice softer. "We didn't know if you'd survive or if the core would work, but now that you're here, it means the signal reached you, and that means we have a chance." Daniel looked around at them, dozens of humans, some young, some old, a few born after Earth fell. They had survived in silence, deep in forgotten systems, keeping their language, their memories, and their hope alive. He followed them to the command room. There were old screens showing maps, blinking red zones, names of fallen colonies. One star system glowed green, marked as safe for rebirth. Daniel stood before the group and spoke. "I don't remember everything, not yet, but I carry your history. Your leaders, your scientists, your pain." He placed his hand on his chest, where the core pulsed like a second heart. "I will help you rebuild, not as your commander, but as your memory." The people listened in silence, then one by one, they raised their hands to their chests and nodded. It was an old Earth gesture, a sign of unity. Daniel felt the fire inside him grow warmer. Not rage now, but purpose. Later that night, he stood at the edge of the observation deck. The stars looked closer now, like they were listening. Kirill's face appeared on a small screen beside him. She had found a way to reach him through a secure channel. "I see you found them," she said with a faint smile. Daniel nodded. "I found more than them," he said. "I found myself." Kirill's eyes looked sad. "There are those who still want to erase you," she warned. "You will never be safe." "I'm not trying to be safe," Daniel said, turning to face the stars again. "I'm trying to be worth remembering." Behind him, engines started up. The ship began moving toward the green star system, the future. A small child walked up beside Daniel, her eyes wide and curious. "Is it true?" she asked. "You hold all the stories of Earth?" Daniel looked down and smiled gently. "I don't just hold them," he said. "I live them now." She nodded and took his hand, and in that quiet moment, Daniel understood. He wasn't just the last human anymore. He was the first of something new. As the ship flew into unknown space, the core inside him whispered once more. "Let the fire spread," it said, and it did.